In this video today, we're going to be learning about midsegments. So the midsegment of a triangle is a type of side splitter. It's parallel to one side of the triangle, and it splits the other two sides proportionally. But there's a little bit more of a specification with the midsegment. It splits each side into a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're going to fill that blank in there with 1-to-1. This means any midsegment connects to midpoints of sides. So if you look in our diagrams here, the midsegments are labeled, and these points that I'm bolding here in pink, I can tell are midpoints because those sides are split into two congruent parts. Furthermore, a midsegment is half the length of the third side, so the parallel side, and you're going to be able to use this fact instead of setting up and solving a proportion. So if you've watched the previous video in this playlist on side splitters, or you've just learned about it in your class already, you may know, okay, we can set up proportions to solve for missing sides and similar polygons. But we don't have to do that with midsegments because we have enough information on its properties that we could just use that, the fact that it connects midpoints and that it's half the length of the third side. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's look at number 1. D and E are midpoints. AB is 18. Always important to label your picture. AC is 22, and DE is 9. We're going to find the lengths of AD, EC, and BC. All right, let's start with AD. Well, D is a midpoint. If that whole side is 18, it's split 9 and 9, so I know our first answer, AD is 9. Then we need to find EC. Well, over on the right-hand side of this triangle, it's 22, but E is a midpoint, so it's split 11 and 11, so EC is 11. Finally, BC. So keep in mind that DE is our midsegment in this problem. So that means it's half the length of the side that it's parallel to. So it is parallel to BC. So that means that it is half of BC. That means BC is going to end up being 18. And those are our 3 answers for number 1. All right, let's look at some more. In 2, DE is a midsegment. If AD is 4, AE is 6, BC is 12, we're going to find the perimeter of trapezoid BDEC. Anytime I see a perimeter question, I like to grab my highlighter and go in and just highlight the shape that I'm supposed to find the perimeter of. And when I do that here, I notice it's a 4-sided shape, but I only have one of the side lengths. So I have 3 more side lengths to find first. Well, I know that DB is going to be 4 because D is a midpoint. I know EC is going to be 6 because E is a midpoint. And I know DE is going to be 6 because it's half the length of 12, half the length of the parallel side. So to find the perimeter, I'm going to add 4, 6, 6, and 12 up. So 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 6 is 16, plus 12 is 28 units for our perimeter. Number 3, DE is a midsegment. If AB is 10, AC is 11, and BC is 12, find the length of DE. This is a nice quick one. DE is just 5. We have too much information in this problem. We just have to figure out what number is actually relevant. DE is the midsegment, so it's half the length of the side that it's parallel to, so half of 10. Number 4, we have all 3 midsegments drawn here. Triangle ABC is equilateral with sides of 10. Okay, so I'm going to go in and label these sides as 10. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to split that. Since we have midsegments, I'm going to put all these 5s in here. All right, we want to find the perimeter of triangle DEF. So I see perimeter. I'm going in with my highlighter to mark off those sides. And I notice I have none of them in this problem. Well, I could find each one of them because they're each a midsegment. So they're each going to be half the length of the side it's parallel to. So DE is parallel to BC. So again, DE is parallel to BC, so it must be half its length, so 5. FE is parallel to BA, half of 10 is 5, And I'm going to have the same logic over here for DF. So our perimeter is 5 plus 5 plus 5, or 15 units. Number 5, KO and M are midpoints. If KO is 9, JN is 21. Find the perimeter of parallelogram KMNO. All right, one key fact here is that, not that we have to use this, but it's helpful, in a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. So if KO is 9, I know MN is 9 also. Okay. I could also have used the fact that this is 18, right? It's got to be double it, and it's split in half. I could have gotten that 9 that way too. All right, if JN is 21, that means ON is 10.5, and KM is going to be the same. So to find our perimeter, I'm going to add 9 and 10.5 and 9 and 10.5, and I'm going to get 39 units as the perimeter of the parallelogram. Number 6, DE and F are midpoints, right? Hopefully we're seeing that the problems do get somewhat repetitive here. AB is 12, AC is 14, BC is 15. Find the perimeter of parallelogram BDEF. All right, well, let's take each side and split it. So I have 6 and 6, 7 and 7, 7.5, 7.5. If you look at our parallelogram there, opposite sides are congruent. So BD being 6 means FE is going to be 6. We're going to use the same logic with the top and bottom sides being 7.5. So my perimeter is 6 plus 7.5 plus 6 plus 7.5 for a total of 27 units. All right, 2 more problems, and these 2 are going to be a little bit more algebraic. So 7, ST is a midsegment. If ST is 4x minus 2, QR is 7x plus 1. Let's find the length of QR. Well, remember, ST is a midsegment, so it's half the length of QR. Or you could choose to look at it and say QR is twice as much of ST. I'm going to use that way rather than using fractions in my solution. So if I double 4x minus 2, I should get 7x plus 1. If you're a little unsure of that when it looks algebraic, let's look at one for a second here. If this was 5, this is going to be 10, right? This parallel side of the big triangle is always double that midsegment. So that's the idea here. I'm just making 5 and 10 up arbitrarily. All right, now let's solve this proportion or this equation. So I have 8x minus 4 equals 7x plus 1. I'm going to get my variables together. And I'm going to get my numbers together, and I got x is 5. We have to find the length of QR, though, so 7 times 5 plus 1 will give us 36. If you chose to have 7x plus 1 and set it equal to 4x minus 2, you'll, of course, get the same answer. All right, last question and last little look at midsegments here. If BC is 16x minus 4 and DE is 6x plus 2, find the length of DE. Let's do this the same way. Let's double the length of the midsegment and set it equal to the parallel side. So I have 12x plus 4 equals 16x minus 4. And now we're just going to solve here. All right, so I have 8 is equal to 4x, which means x is 2. We want to find the length of DE here, so let's plug in 6 times 2 plus 2 gives me 14 as my length of DE. Okay, so big idea with midsegments is remember that they are always half the length of the parallel side, or you can look at it that the parallel side is double the length of the midsegment. You can check out the other videos in this playlist to learn other concepts related to similar triangles.